That's a bad idea. That's a bad idea.
Thought I would win against Anthony, but here I am with a broken jaw, learning the hard way. I'll heal, and I'll be back.
December 19th hit different. Jake Paul's entire boxing world exploded in one moment when Anthony Joshua's fist connected, and suddenly Dana White's warnings didn't sound so bitter anymore. That clean shot in the 6th round didn't just drop Jake. It shattered the whole illusion that internet fame could survive real heavyweight power.
6, 7, 8, 9.
Miami witnessed something brutal that night. The destruction of a carefully built myth delivered with surgical precision.
Bro, he got hit with a bomb.
The Kaseya Center was electric one moment, then tomb quiet the next. When Joshua's right hand found its target in round 6, something bigger than Jake Paul hit the canvas. The entire room's energy just died.
Look, that guy did great for someone who's been boxing for like less than a decade. He has had no real professional opponents other than Tommy Fury.
Let me tell you, Jake Paul did not stop.
That right cross landed like a truth bomb. Every camera angle captured the exact second reality kicked in. No slipping, no bad timing, no excuses. Just consequence meeting hype at full speed. Watch Jake's face, before and after. Confident swagger turned to medic visits. That whiplash from arrogance to ambulance is what made this hurt so deep. This wasn't just another loss on the record. This was watching a bubble burst in real time.
Boxing is not a game. Fighting is not something you pick up and mess around with, right? If you're a fighter, if you're a boxer, if you're a mixed martial artist, right, you have to take this seriously and you have to respect the game.
Jake didn't stumble into success by accident. Every move was calculated, every opponent handpicked. He built his record by controlling variables. Older guys, smaller frames, fighters from other sports. The blueprint was genius. Stack wins, avoid killers, build hype. 12 victories, 7 knockouts later. The world bought in. Fans believed the story. Media ran with it. Doubters got labeled as haters.
Counter right. There's the right hand. Jake Paul goes down again. Man, he's put.
The system worked perfectly, until it didn't. Jake's whole approach depended on controlling every detail. Size advantages, experience gaps, favorable matchmaking. Those calculations worked in his favor for years. But the real trap wasn't any single fighter. The real trap was buying into his own marketing. Thinking that manufactured success would translate against an actual elite heavyweight destroyer. Joshua showed up as exactly what he's always been. A legitimate professional with 26 knockouts and 0 patience for games. This wasn't entertainment or spectacle for him. Just work. The mismatch became obvious immediately. Jake wasn't fighting. He was panicking, clinching, holding, wrestling, doing everything except boxing. The power difference was crushing, and everyone could see where this was heading.
Best shot at the moment. Not that much is going to happen. And it almost... Oh, there's a left hook. Oh,
Joshua operated like a surgeon. No rushing, no emotional reactions, no social media moments. Just patience and precision. Round 5 brought the warning shots. Jake hit the deck twice, losing confidence with each impact. By round 6, drama wasn't needed. Just one perfect right hand, flawless timing, and gravity handled the rest.
Bad idea. That's a bad idea. But let me tell you what, a lot of people watch that one.
Will you watch it?
Sure. You know what everybody's tuning in for on that one. I think everybody's going to get what they've finally been waiting for.
Jake's night ended with harsh mathematics. Career knockout loss, number 1. Overall defeat, number 2. Final record now reads 12-2. Joshua collected win 29 and knockout 26, like he was punching a time clock. Meanwhile, Jake left on a stretcher with fractured bones, scheduled surgery, and months of liquid meals ahead. You can argue scorecards all day long. Broken jaws don't lie.
Fight for a second. It happened in the 6th round, and it happened in a 22-foot ring. A typical ring is 20 foot. This one was 22 foot because he wanted a bigger room to operate, a bigger space, a bigger ring, somewhere to...
Enter Dana White, with the most brutal "I told you so" in combat sports history. Dana wasn't whispering in corners about this fight. He went public with his concerns, called it dangerous, said Jake was swimming in waters too deep for him. People dismissed it as jealousy or fear of influencer, boxing's growth. After the knockout, Dana didn't need victory laps or interviews. That satisfied grin said everything. This wasn't revenge. This was inevitability.
He did get tired, and there was a lot of clinching, but the clinching was from Jake Paul, from him shooting, from him actually getting double underhooks, from him doing anything he could when Anthony Joshua moved forward to stop the punches being thrown.
The most painful part for Jake isn't even the physical damage. It's knowing this was completely predictable. The fight didn't expose just a skill gap. It revealed a fundamental misunderstanding of what boxing actually is. This sport doesn't grade on followers or brand recognition. It only measures what happens when trained killers stand across from each other and one has spent 20 years perfecting controlled violence. Jake got that education the expensive way, and everyone watched it happen.
Right? This is a crazy shout. He lost because he was smaller. He lost because of the size difference. He also lost because he had no business being in there with him. Anthony Joshua is by far a better boxer. Of course he is. You know this. Watch it. Every one of you watching this knows that.
Most people think fights end when referees wave them off. That's not how consequences work. The real damage started after the adrenaline faded and medical reality kicked in with x-rays, surgical consultations, and recovery timelines that don't care about content schedules. Shattered jaw, hospital stay, wire surgery. That's not vlog material. That's your skeleton filing complaints against your decision-making. The trash talk vanished overnight. Social media went quiet. The same guy who documented every breath of his boxing journey suddenly had nothing to say. Hard to run your mouth when it's wired shut and you're sipping dinner through straws. Influencer confidence hits different when you're wearing hospital bracelets instead of championship belts.
And Jake Paul couldn't do anything to him. He made a ton of money. And I know people are mad you stayed home on a Saturday night, but you didn't pay for it.
The before and after images tell the whole story. Hours earlier, Jake was strutting and grinning for cameras. Hours later, medical teams were explaining recovery protocols. That's why this defeat cut deeper than others. Fans can meme decision losses. Knockdowns become highlight reels. But surgical procedures aren't entertainment anymore. That's accountability in its purest form. Boxing's way of sending receipts. While Jake navigated doctor visits, Dana White dealt with vindication. Dana had been sounding alarms about this matchup long before contracts were signed, called it reckless, publicly, said Jake was entering territory he couldn't handle. Critics called him bitter, jealous, threatened by influencer boxing's popularity.
Just box someone your own size, not a 35er, not a super heavyweight, not a two-time world champion, okay, or a gold medalist at the Olympics. Fight a cruiserweight.
Then the punch connected, and Dana didn't gloat. No celebration tours or podcast rants, just that knowing smile that spoke volumes. Because Dana didn't need to say anything. The footage made his argument better than words ever could. Years of questioning Jake's legitimacy suddenly looked less like hatred and more like expertise. This wasn't Dana defeating Jake Paul. This was physics, validating Dana's warnings in 4K resolution. Influencer marketing met heavyweight reality, and reality won decisively. Dana's restraint made it sting worse because he didn't exaggerate the risks or oversell the danger. He just recognized it. Decades around authentic fighters taught him to spot the difference between confidence and competence.
It wasn't the best performance. It wasn't the best. The end goal was to get Jake Paul, pin him down and hurt him. That has been the request leading up, and that was on my mind. It took a bit longer than expected, but the right hand finally found a destination. Now, Jake Paul, he's done really well tonight. I want to give him his props. He got up time and time again.
Mental recovery presents bigger challenges than physical healing for Jake. Sure, he claimed he stunned Joshua, insisted he won early rounds. That's natural denial, basic human psychology. But body language revealed the truth. Slower movements, distant expressions, speaking without his trademark edge. you could hear something fundamental had changed.
I need to give this guy a systematic breakdown. I know what type of fighter he is, and I said I'm going to take his soul, and I said I'm going to see it leaving his body round after round, and when the time comes, some people are just there to get knocked out. And I said it, and that's exactly what happened.
First knockout losses do permanent psychological damage. Losing decisions hurts your record. Getting slept changes how you see yourself in mirrors. It forces questions that algorithms can't answer. Jake built his career on narrative control. New opponents meant new storylines, meant fresh marketing angles. But knockouts don't allow rerouting. The difference between losing and being finished is massive. Decisions leave room for arguments. Knockouts end conversations permanently. Egos don't just take hits, they shatter completely. Suddenly those shortcuts look less clever. Suddenly danger feels tangible. Suddenly combat sports stop feeling like content creation and start feeling like actual combat. That shift affected more than just Jake. Logan Paul felt the tremor too. Pre-fight Logan was loud and confident, riding momentum as always. Post-knockout Logan went silent. The Paul brand depends entirely on control. Controlled chaos, controlled narratives, controlled risks. For the first time ever, control slipped away completely. You can't edit emergency room footage. You can't spin orthopedic surgery. You can't protect family from Newton's laws. That's when spectacle becomes personal. When everyone from fans to promoters starts questioning limits. This wasn't entertainment malfunction. This was education delivered at heavyweight velocity. Once that lesson gets taught, ignorance isn't an option anymore. Jake didn't just lose a boxing match. He lost the fantasy that rules bend indefinitely for the right personality. Once that fantasy dies, every forward step carries more weight. This single fight murdered the concept of risk-free crossover boxing forever. The unwritten agreement was always simple. Internet personalities play in shallow water, never the deep end. Jake dove too deep, and Joshua made sure the lesson echoes permanently. This wasn't hype versus hype. This was marketing meeting mathematics, and losing badly. Overnight, promoters grew cautious. Fighters reconsidered. Fans stopped treating it like comedy. Real boxers don't need influencer paychecks badly enough to risk becoming cautionary tales with broken faces. That knockout sent shockwaves through crossover combat. Jake's left with no clean escape routes. The record stays forever. Knockout loss number 1, defeat number 2, 0 rematch leverage, no moral victories. Fans split between sympathy and vindication. Sponsors scrutinize closer. Potential opponents hesitate. Credibility suddenly costs more than expected. The final lesson stays simple. Boxing ignores follower counts completely. Dana White didn't destroy Jake Paul. Physics did. Anthony Joshua didn't just win another fight. He defended professional boundaries. This wasn't controversy. This was natural law.